without further ado, I'd like to bring on someone else who has an internet radio station. He also is very active here in Plainfield. He has organized the Plainfield 5K, which is a annual event which will be having its 5th annual race this coming October. Starts right here in front of City Hall. And what that does, it brings people together. It brings because Plainfield has had its degree of one side against the other. And it constantly needs to have active people building bridges, bringing people together. And Darryl Clark is one of those bridge builders. So I'd like to bring him on to say a few words.
I appreciate that. Appreciate it, John. I could not be here if I consider myself a community advocate, which I do. You can't just talk the talk, you have to walk the talk. And we actually need more of that. John, I appreciate you and Steve and the People's Organization for Progress allowing me to come on and just say a few words. I brought little notes because you know I can be long-winded. I have an internet radio show. So he said he's going to keep the hook close by me, but I wanted to make sure I hit up on some specific points. And I'm used to talking, but I don't want to go over. But we are gathered here to bring attention to a very, very important and serious issue, and that is the plight that African Americans are going through right now. And let me just give some statistics. Strictly the facts. African Americans comprise, and you know most of these, so as they say, preaching to the choir, African Americans comprise about 13% of the U.S. population. Latinos about 17%. Whites about 77%. But yet, about 40% of the prison population is comprised of African Americans. They're incarcerated at about 40%. 33% of violent police brutality is engaged against African Americans. Here's an alarming one. About 40% of unarmed victims of police shootings are black. Talk about our youth, and that's the future of African Americans. And this is a fact that is somewhat just startling, disenchanting, egregious, and you use a lot of other adjectives. But of youth, we're talking about the youth category. 60% of all youth incarcerated are African American. Now we're talking about some statistics that bridge upon, in some categories, those African Americans who are incarcerated surpass African Americans who actually are employed. That is borderline genocide by some standards. So we have a very serious situation. Not to forget the females, African American females, though the numbers are significantly less as they are across all the categories with females, they're disproportionately higher than non-African American females. So this is an all hands on deck moment. The ship is sinking, but we can raise it. It's going to take a collective effort. Now, this is a human issue, first of all. Martin Luther King stated, we're all in an inescapable common thread of destiny. What affects one affects us all, and all of us are mutually tied by a common thread of humanity. For that reason, all are welcome to help with this situation, to correct this plight. But more importantly, African Americans need to really come together to address the situations. Two things with that. First, we need to get out of the not my problem mindset, because there are those that feel, well, I've got a nice car, a nice apartment, nice home, African American descent. Why do I want to get involved in this? I don't want to make ripples. But for those that have that mindset, and again, I know I'm preaching to the choir here, and I appreciate the media, but for those that have that mindset, they're not thinking about the times when they travel and they need to catch a cab and they wonder why the cab is passing them, or They think about their children or their nieces and nephews and grandchildren who have to deal and interface with the influence of those who are disproportionately incarcerated. And then, let's not forget, when those individuals are driving down the highway or through a certain neighborhood and those sirens go off, how they clench that steering wheel. I mean, we can go on and on with examples of why we should not have the not my problem mindset. And then 2 is the crabs in a barrel mindset. That's another issue that African Americans have. And we've got to get away from that. That might even be worse than the not my problem mindset. So I'm talking about some things that we need to look at, because it's one thing to stand on the steps and talk about what it is, and another to talk about, well, what are some things that we should be doing about it. So that's what I'm talking about now. So the crabs in the barrel mindset, you know, those that say, well, maybe if I bring down my brother and brother, there's only about 3 of us in the department, so maybe I can get up here and pull down my brother or sister, and that'll put me up above that person. So my take on that is, if you need to get ahead, don't pull me down in order to do that. So those are 2 things that we need to be very, very cognizant of. And I would say for that latter, we need to call those folks out. We need to hold each other accountable. So with that said, each of us has something to contribute. The question is not, are we doing something? The question is, what are we doing? It's not an option. So the first thing is, let's get informed. Not misinformed, informed. We need to begin by knowing our history, and I'm speaking African Americans, but across all races and cultures. We need to be informed of our history here in America. That is a major problem. This isn't about removing a Confederate flag in South Carolina. I mean, the facts really state that that flag went up in '63. A lot of people say that that flag was over that Capitol for years and years. See, that's part of the knowledge that too many of us don't have. The flag was put up in opposition of Robert Kennedy going down there to fight for equal rights. So in essence, I'm putting this flag up as a racist to say, no, we don't believe in equality. And that flag been flying of inequality for years until 9 people had to get shot in a South Carolina church. So no, it's not about just the flag. It's about a lot more than that. It's about opposing an oppressive and regressive ideology towards African Americans. So you ask yourself, are you a member of a group or organization that's making a difference? Or even better, organizations like my brother John and I can go across everybody up here right now, because they're all involved in numerous organizations. So a good place to start, if you're not involved, is right here with the POP, People's Organization for Progress. Mr. Lawrence Ham has put in place a relevant organization that is well respected, and they're making a difference. As the founder of, as John said, Plainfield's own Queen City Historic 5K Walk Run for Life, we have an event once a year right here on these steps of City Hall in October, and we'll have one again, our 5th annual, that is geared towards engaging the community and to uplift our youth and to protect our elders. Those are our bookends. And we're looking for volunteers. So if you want another organization, please see me, and we can talk about getting involved with the Plainfield Historic 5K Walk Run for Life. But there's numerous ways you can get involved. Start your own organization. So as I close, I just want to say we are in a crucial place in history. African Americans are being attacked in overt ways. Not that others aren't, but disproportionately African Americans. The statistics speak for themselves. I got pages and pages, and any of you can go to the internet, and that's proven fact. So let's get up and get involved. Speak out on the injustices, regardless of the source. We're blessed to be part of a government that's for the people, by the people, and of the people. It's not our right to make a progressive change. It's truly our responsibility. Thank you for the time.